His mercy over. We now we beg him to make this thing easy and acceptable here and the day of reckoning. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us now and ever. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ameen. Now, the next thing on the agenda is to read from the Holy Quran. So, the Holy Quran is going to be read in both Arabic and English language. And the brother who is going to help us to recite is no other person than Ustaz Shakruddin Abu Bakri. Ustaz Shakruddin. Now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله الذي سخر لكم البحر لتجري الفلك فيه بأمره ولتبتغوا من فضله ولعلكم تشكرون. وسخر لكم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض جميعا منه إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم. Jazakumullah khairan to our brother for that recitation. We pray to Almighty Allah to accept it from you, and to those of us who have also listened to it, we pray to Allah to accept it from every one of us, to make it a nuja for us on the day of Qiyamah, not against us. Amen. Now, to listen to the English version of what our brother have just started for us now, I'll be calling on Malam Abdullah Tirmizi. I don't know if he's on call. If it is not, Malam Abdurrafi Kelani, please help us with the translation of what our brother have just recited now.
As well from Rajim Bismillah, the secret from Allah in the Apostle. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. It is Allah who has subjected sea to you, that ships may sail through it by his command, that ye may seek of his bounty, and that ye may be grateful. And he has subjected to you, as from him, all that is in the heavens and on earth. Behold, in that are signs indeed for those who reflect. The truth indeed is the word of Allah.
Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Jazakumullah khairan. Truly, the words of Allah are always true. Now, Alhamdulillah. So we'll move on to the next agenda, which is I'm going to call on the Secretary of the Muslim Congress, Lagos State, the person of Brother Abdulaziz, Malam Abdulaziz Abiodun Olawumi, to help us with the opening remark. Now, Assalamu alaikum, sir. Secretary, sir. Malam Abdulaziz Abiodun Olawumi. Opening remarks, sir.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Am I audible?
Very audible, sir.
Yeah. We thank Almighty Allah sincerely for his mercy over us. Since last we had the TCP's webinar. Here we are again. We gather here. We adore Almighty Allah, giving us that opportunity. We pray Almighty Allah to accept this little one, our strife, as to count it as part of our ibadah for us in both of us. Now, today's topic is artificial intelligence and the future of work. So the TCP will always come out with something beneficial and informative every two months. This edition is not an exception. Here again, we are going to give us the best of the discussion. AI is set to significantly reshape the future of work, offering both opportunities and challenges. While AI may automate or displace certain tasks, it also has the potential to create new roles and forms of work, particularly by complementing human expertise in decision-making and complex problem-solving. The key is to focus on strategic upskilling and reskilling to prepare the workforce for the demands of the new AI-driven economy. What we are trying to do today, I am not the guest speaker, but that topic is very, very germane, very important to every one of us. We have to prepare our mind against the future so that we'll be able to go along line with what is happening in the society, especially the technology-driven economy. We employ every one of us to listen attentively, because we've gone far away in FUT Mina, Federal University of Technology, Mina, to go and get our guest lecturer. It's no any other person than Engineer Dr. Jubril Abdullahi Bala, Department of Mechatronics Engineering, FUT Mina, Niger State. He is more than capable. He has been doing it before. This one again, we want to benefit from his wealth of experience and expertise on this field. We want us to be very, very listening with rapt attention. Definitely, we will not have any iota of doubt for getting our guest lecturer today. Let us prepare ourselves. As the MC has already said, we are going to face a kind of challenges. This is not the first time. In the 1990s, in the 1990s, when you talk of millennium, 2000, everybody was running, we were all running from pillar to post. But alhamdulillah, here we are today. Robust, we are talking about it. Now AI. So let us prepare our mind against it. Don't let us feel jittery or thinking that probably this kind of work I'm doing will not be relevant again. We have to upskill, unskill, and then reskill so that we're able to fit into the society that we are living in today. We pray Almighty Allah to be with our lecturer, to guide him through the topic he's going to give to us, and we listeners to be able to assimilate, get what he's teaching us, and be able to make use of it, and to be beneficial to us in both for here in the world and the hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan to our secretary for that opening remark. So without wasting our time, we'll be going into why we are here today. But before we do that, I would like to give a brief introduction to give us a brief introduction to our lecturer. A brief introduction of our lecturer, rather, because what I think is maybe for us to understand why we need to pay attention, that we've done our homework, we've gone really far and wide to get him. So I think, let me just give you a preview of what we are with the person we are talking about, so that we know we need to pay attention. Dr. Jubril Abdullahi Bala is a distinguished academic and researcher in mechatronics engineering at the Federal University of Technology, Minna, Nigeria. He has a PhD in electrical and electronics engineering from Line University of Nigeria. He has done so many research. His research focuses on intelligent control systems, artificial intelligence, and precision agriculture. Dr. Bala has gained international recognition. He has published over 40 papers and he has received prestigious scholarships and research grants. He currently serves as Deputy Director of the Center for Open Distance and E-Learning at FUTMINA, showcasing his commitment to academic excellence and professional growth. So you can see now that the person we've invited is not just an ordinary person. It's somebody that, and when you talk about academics, this is not, how do I call it now? We must be ready to write today because it's going to give us the full details of what AI is all about. The AI we have been hearing, the AI we have been seeing are just the application. But there's something more to AI, which I am sure Dr. Jubi Bala is going to do justice to today. Because from his bibliography now, you see now that he's somebody who is capable. This is his field. He knows everything about AI. So without wasting more time, I will open the floor now for Dr. Jubi Bala to take us through the topic. We'll pray to Almighty Allah to guide his tongue, to guide his thoughts, and to make it a benefiting knowledge for every one of us. Now, Doctor, you have the floor now, sir.
Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and my brothers and sisters, it is an honor and privilege to be here with you. The moderator has hyped me so much. I hope I live up to the hype. But I'm just a brother like you who is passionate about seeking for knowledge generally, and that's what drove me into academics. I hope you can see my screen. I'm going to put it on presentation mode.
Yes, we can see the screen, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So as my brother, the moderator, said, I am Jibril from FUTMINA. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Mechatronics Engineering. And my research interests primarily focus on artificial intelligence, how we apply it to robotics, how we apply it to agriculture and other autonomous systems. And recently, I was fortunate enough to be appointed as the Deputy Director for the Center for Open Distance and E-Learning, where for those of us familiar with open and distance education, it's basically an opportunity for you to earn your degrees, either a conventional degree or short courses from the comfort of your home. And we've been trying to come up with new programs, particularly one of them is to focus on artificial intelligence. And all of this means or shows that AI is not something that, at first it was futuristic, but we are actually there. AI is here, AI is mainstream. And so it is very important for us to understand what it is, understand how it works, and understand how we can use it to our advantage. So what is AI? I hope my screen is moving. I should be on a slide that says what is AI. Can you see that?
That's where we are now.
Okay,
what is AI?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. That's great. So when we hear about AI, the full meaning, of course, is artificial intelligence, right? And when we talk about intelligence, when somebody tells you, I am intelligent, or that person is intelligent, the first thing that comes to our mind is, that person is brilliant. But intelligence doesn't really mean brilliance. That's not the definition of intelligence. For you to be intelligent, it means you must be able to learn, you must be able to understand, you must be able to solve a problem, and you must be able to take a decision all on your own. If you can do those four things, then that makes you intelligent. And therefore, if you look at not just human beings, but even animals in general, that means we all have a certain level of intelligence. However, the level of intelligence in humans surpasses that of animals and so on. So when you talk about artificial intelligence, primarily, You are trying to put that human intelligence or copy that human intelligence and put them in machines or computer systems. And why would you even want to do that in the first place? Why do you want to put human intelligence in machines? Is human intelligence in humans not enough? But as humans, you would agree with me that we have a lot of day-to-day activities that we carry out, both at home, both in the workplace, wherever we find ourselves. So the original intention behind AI was to put that intelligence in machines like computers, so that some of these tasks that we do over and over again that are repetitive, we don't need to do that. A computer can do that for us, right? So as we go further, you'll see various applications of artificial intelligence. But basically, it's that human intelligence you want to put in computers or machines. Now, AI itself is very, very broad. It is very broad. Not everything is AI, but a lot of things are AI. So there is an aspect of AI called optimization, right? That one is mostly mathematical, and it mostly has to do with equations and cost functions and so on. It's not an aspect of AI that many people are familiar with. There's another aspect of AI called expert systems. And there are devices that use these expert systems, but they don't interact with humans. All we do is we buy those devices, we turn them on and we turn them off. Like some of our washing machines, for instance, they have a certain level of AI in it. But all we know that is we turn the washing machine, we leave it for 30 minutes. When it's done, we check, is it okay or not? We put it back in again. But the AI aspect that most of us are familiar with, because we interact with it daily, is machine learning. Now, machine learning simply means allowing machines to learn from what the term means. As a human being, for me to know some of the things I know now, I had to go to school. My teachers had to sit me in the class and teach me. My parents had to explain some things to me. When I go to Islamia, my malam has to explain some things to me. And that is why I know some of those things now. There are instances where nobody explains it to you, but based on your background knowledge, you can search for that knowledge either through books or through watching videos or through browsing online. When you read and you put that data in your head, you now understand it and you become knowledgeable in that regard. So with machine learning, all you are trying to do is you have data of what has been done previously, right? Whether it's data of how the weather has been, or it's data of how some transactions have been made, or it's data about, okay, how people have written their papers or written essays, and you give a machine all that information, all that data, and say, look, based on this data input that I've given you, read and understand the content of the data. Read and understand it such that if I ask you a question tomorrow about it, you will be able to give me a response. And that is machine learning. So machine learning now goes further into what we call deep learning, and it also goes further into what we call generative AI. But the underlying foundation of it is machine learning. And all it has to do is you have data of things that have been done previously, you put it in the machine and the machine learns from this data. And tomorrow when you ask the machine a question, it gives you an answer. And that is exactly how things like ChatGPT and Meta AI and Gemini work. They have been trained on large amounts of data found on the internet in various aspects. And because they have been trained on this data, whenever you ask them a question, they give you an answer. And that answer is basically based on the data that they have been trained with. Sometimes the answer might not be correct, but that is because that is the data they have at their disposal. So that is machine learning. Then it now extends into other areas like natural language processing, where you train a machine to interact with humans. You say something, the AI replies to you. Our ChatGPT and the rest, they're examples of natural language processing, because when you type a question, they understand the question and give you a response, right? If you tell ChatGPT what is 2 plus 2, it will tell you 4. Then if you tell ChatGPT what is the sum of 2 and 2, it will still give you 4. You can see that those questions, the way I structured them, are different, but they convey the same message and they understand it. So that's natural language processing. And they can also give you a response based on what you understand. And that's why in our phones, those of us using iPhones, we can use Siri and say, hey, Siri, what is the time? And Siri will tell you what the time is. Now, this goes further also AI into what we call computer vision, where machines can see and understand the way human beings can see and understand. And a lot of our phones have face lock, where once you record your face, whenever you put your face, it opens your phone. That is computer vision. We also have aspects of facial recognition. On your phone, you've taken a lot of pictures. One day you just go into your gallery and you see that your gallery has organized your pictures based on the people in those pictures. So it will show you the face of your brother, you click it and you see all the pictures that your brother is inside. It will show you the face of your sister, you click it, it will show you all the pictures that your sister was inside. It's all for machines to understand what is in the content of images. And also we have robotics, where you will see machines carrying out complex tasks. And to my understanding, there's a video that will be played after the lecture, and you will see the applications of some of these things, particularly robotics in action. But at the end of the day, all of these things, they are not really magic. Basically, it's a lot of mathematical equations behind the scenes that are operating. When you give AI a large amount of data, what that AI does is it uses mathematics to find relationships between this input and that output, very complex relationships. And based on that, if it finds a relationship, whenever you give it a question, it will give you an answer. Now, this AI is applied in many aspects today, in many areas today, right? You have customer service. Sometimes when you go on a website, you see something pop up by the lower right corner and say, hey, how may I help you today? You now type in, you say, hello, I have inquiries, I want to do ABC, and it will respond to you. It's not a person sitting behind the scenes 24/7 responding to you. It's what we call a chatbot. It is AI that is responding to you. And the same thing with ChatGPT, it's a chatbot, because when it's not that there's somebody behind the scenes giving you answers. No, it's that AI giving you answers. When you feed in information, it looks at the keywords, understands what you're trying to say, and it gives you an output. Now you can see that that has reduced the need for having somebody sit at the counter 24/7 responding to people. So let's assume you're running a business and you want to do customer support. If you are employing people, it means that you can ask them to sit there from 8 to 6, for instance, and pay them for that. Or you ask them to do 24 hours. And if you're doing 24 hours, you might need more than one person. You might need to run shifts, right? But you can augment this with AI and say, okay, I have a chatbot that can answer some of the basic questions. But if it's now more detailed and it is more complicated for the chatbot to understand, then I have a human being who can answer. You can see that the chatbot has been able to reduce a lot of the workload for the human. However, as we go further, you'll see that there is a risk. If you need, let's say, 4 people to manage shifts for 24 hours customer support, and you now incorporate AI, then you might feel that, okay, 4 people are too much because I need AI. 2 people should go. Let me stick with 2 people and AI. So you can see that those 2 people have gone. Their job has been taken over by what? AI. But as we will see later, that this is a risk. And we'll talk about that more in depth later and how we can address that issue. Then you have healthcare. There are some of my friends who have been giving me stories that when they go to a hospital and they are talking to a doctor and telling him his symptoms, the doctor will be checking his phone for updates on the symptoms or something like that. I have never experienced that, but I've heard people who have experienced that. But it is how far technology has come. Because normally our doctors, when you tell them the symptoms, they tell you to go and do a test. If it's something generic, they treat you. However, if it is more complicated than what they are familiar with, they go through their books. You see a lot of doctors have books in their offices. They'll go through their books to find out what this means, or they contact their colleagues and consult with them. So AI has made this a bit easier where you can put in some of these symptoms and it can give you an idea how to go about it. And it can help with diagnosis and the rest. Then in finance, a lot of our banking institutions use this for fraud detection, trading, trying to see if anybody is scamming you, or if there's irregularities, or predicting the stock market, whether something will go up or down. AI has been used in that regard. It's used also in manufacturing, like optimization, quality control, and it's also used in education. There are some apps now like Duolingo, like Khan Academy, that when you start going through it, if they ask you a question and you fail the question, immediately the next set of questions you will have will adjust a little bit to lower it down to your level, so that it means that, okay, what they taught you, you haven't understood fully, so they'll bring it down a step backwards. That's all AI in action. And as you can see, there are other aspects like automobiles, financing, government, manufacturing, and so on. Are we still together? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, we are together. We can hear you, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at what AI can do, right? We've looked at the application areas. Why do you even want to use AI in the first place? Why is it important to you? Like I said, automating repetitive tasks, right? Here I gave examples like data entry, scheduling, inventory tracking. But let's go back to our chatbot example. Assuming I'm a customer service representative, right? Let's say in a bank, right? I'm a customer service representative. I am always on my computer attending to people who send their requests online. Today, somebody will ask me, how do I open an account with your bank? I will explain. Then maybe in 5 minutes, somebody somewhere else will ask me, how do you open an account with the bank? I will explain. And you'll see that in a day, I might have 20 to 50 people asking me, how do I open an account with your bank? And I'll be typing the same thing, the same response, telling them this is how you open the bank account, right? Or somebody might tell me, okay, I have an account and I want to upgrade. How do I do that? Then I need to tweak my response a little. That is repetitive and overwhelming. There might be people with more genuine problems because, this thing is a queue. But because I'm attending to people who came first with issues that they could even check online and see this information, I might not get to the people with more urgent problems. So some of these repetitive tasks, you can assign them to AI, and AI can help you do them, right? Scheduling. You are trying to figure out, okay, when do I do this? What time is this meeting? And so on. You have automatic schedulers that can do that for you. Before, we had to employ personal assistants that can do this for us, but now you have schedulers that can do this for you. Then AI actually improves accuracy, right? In the sense that if I am doing a calculation over and over again for 100 times a day, as a human being, I am subject to fatigue. I'll be tired, I might be hungry, I might just be stressed. And because of that stress, some of these calculations, it's easy for me to make a mistake. But if you leave it to AI, AI doesn't get tired, computers don't get tired, and they would consistently give you the right calculations over and over again. Now, sometimes you might have data and you're trying to get insights from the data, right? AI can easily give you insights from the data. Let's move to the education aspect where I am, right? When we grade our exams and our assessments at the end of the term, when we are presenting the results to the department, they say it needs to follow the bell curve, right? So people with higher grades and lower grades should be less than the people in average. So average should be more, right? So if there is a problem with that curve, then you know that, okay, there's either a problem in the marking or in the delivery, and you need to moderate accordingly so that it fits the curve. But sometimes, like for me, if I'm taking about 50 students, it's very easy for me to look at the curve and maybe have a summary at the end. But let's say I'm dealing with 1,000 students. Do I start going through the records one after the other? But AI can easily look through this data and give you a distribution and tell you this is what it looks like. So think of massive data sets. If you're looking at millions of people, look at a JAM, for instance. Every year they have over 1 million people taking the exam. One person cannot sift through all those results to give you insights. You need a form of intelligence that is artificial that can do that for you. then AI can help you in your decision making. Based with the JAM example now, let's assume 1 million people take the exam. Based on my AI insights, I see over 70% have less than 150. It means there was a massive low performance. And maybe as an organization, I might decide I need to do some form of moderation and maybe add marks across board so that I can improve the distribution and scale operations. So you can help, maybe you're running a business of 10 people. Immediately you have more customers and it has increased to 1,000. Before you have time to recruit people to help, AI can easily help you scale your operations. So there are many other benefits that you can get from AI, but these are just some of the major ones. Now, let's look at the trends and opportunities for AI and work generally, because that's what we are focused on, AI and the future of work. That's what we're focusing on, rather. So if you look at the trends, we've talked about automation of routine jobs, right? Things that you have to do over and over and over again. AI can help you automate it. Think of our organizations where you have office assistants. As an office assistant, it's your responsibility to take letters from one point to another. It's your responsibility to prepare minutes, to work on the files and so on. And you see that at the end of the day, you are overwhelmed and you'll be thinking, all this stress I'm going through, for how much? But if you employ the use of AI, a lot of these things that you are using, you can automate them and you can become much more productive. Hybrid workspaces. Now I am communicating with you online, right? I don't need to be in Lagos to make my presentation. And there are people who are joining who are not in Lagos. Now, these are just remote tools. But then with AI tools, not only can you work remotely, but you can also incorporate AI to make it more efficient, right? So look at economies now. There are a lot of people who have remote jobs. So I can sit from the comfort of my home, do a task, submit, and I can get paid. And you don't even need a degree for these remote jobs. Some of our students, in fact, their performance is going low because they've been getting these remote jobs. It's keeping them busy. They are earning money and they don't think the academics is important anymore. So you'll see somebody who will tell you that he's going to miss a test or exam because he has a remote job he is working on. But basically, those are the kind of opportunities that AI has opened up, right? And then human AI collaboration, like I talked about, using AI to improve your productivity, and data-driven management, AI to analyze the data you have, and it can help you take better decisions. So these are the trends currently, what is going on in the world. So these trends lead to a lot of opportunities. You have higher efficiency. You have higher efficiency, like the secretary I talked about, the office assistant. Instead of spending your time thinking of how to craft a report, you already have the key details of the report. AI can just help you generate a report based on the key details you have, and all you need to do is proofread and edit where necessary. And instead of spending 4 hours drafting a report, you can finish it up in 1 hour, meaning you have saved 3 hours of work. And that will make you more efficient. But you know, the reward for good work is what? More work. The more good work you do, you get more work added to you. But that more work means what? More opportunities for you. Your boss will now recognize you as somebody who is efficient and would always want to work with you. And whenever good things come, you are the first person he will think about because you are the one giving him results. New job roles. So because AI now is mainstream, you have new roles like AI engineers, prompt engineers, data ethics, AI trainers. You need people to develop these AI systems. You need people to evaluate these AI systems to make sure that it is giving you the feedback that you want. If you look at Meta AI, if you try to ask it any question that is, let's say, morally wrong or ethically wrong, maybe you're asking it to give you information on something that has to do with fraud or criminal activity, or anything that has to do with sexual content or something like that, it will always tell you that I cannot give you a response at this time. That is where AI ethics come in. You have a group of people who their own job is to make sure that any AI being developed meets the ethics standards. It's called responsible AI, because AI has a lot of applications, and anything we do in this world that has a good side, it also has what? The negative side. So AI isn't all good. And because it isn't all good, you need people to checkmate what kind of AI products are being generated. Innovation, AI helps you open up new products, services, and business models. If you decide to develop an AI now that can help government officials track the kind of activities they are doing, that is novel. That is innovation. It wasn't in existence before, but you've been able to develop it because of what? Because of AI. Then improve services like our user experience and customers. I was telling you about the chatbot for the customer service, and I was also telling you about if you are learning and you get a question wrong, AI adjusts it accordingly. So that improves your experience in using some of these products. And overall, you have a better work-life balance because you're automating some of these tasks, you are freeing up some of your time, you will not get burnt out easily, and it makes you much more productive. So we're talking about the new roles, right? There are new AI careers that are coming up now. If you look at the slide, I have 10 highest paying AI jobs and careers in 2024. You can see there's the machine learning engineer, NLP engineer, data scientist, up to the AI security specialist. If you're on LinkedIn and you go to the jobs and you just type AI, you see different forms of AI roles coming up that people are advertising for. So it has opened a lot of opportunities, like the prompt engineers. These prompt engineers, their own specialization is whatever you type into a generative AI model, like ChatGPT, can it give you a good response based on what you typed? Sometimes when you type in something, it gives you answers that is not in line with what you want. So these prompt engineers, that is their job. AI ethicists, they are ensuring fairness, accountability, and transparency, like we talked about, responsible AIs. Data annotators and labelers. I told you this AI is created by feeding in a large amount of data, But that means you have people that need to tell AI, this data I'm giving you is for mathematics. This one is for physics. This one is for identifying people. This one is for calculating money. So that when the AI gets the data, it understands. It's called supervised learning. When we go to school, we're not just given the books and told, well, maybe in higher education, but in basic and primary education, we're not just given the books and told to go and read. No, our teacher will have to guide us. This is A, this is an apple, this is a cat. That is what these data annotators do. They need to tell the AI, this is the type of data I am training you on. Then AI products managers, how do you integrate AI into the products and services that you use day to day? Then machine learning operations, basically building and maintaining and managing machine learning models. Now, like I said earlier, everything that has a disadvantage has everything that has an advantage rather has a disadvantage. And AI is not an exception. We talked about how reducing 2 of your customer care representatives and incorporating AI. It means that 2 people have lost their jobs because of AI. And that's the first thing we see there, job displacement. If I decide that I'm going to use AI in place of a human for automating repetitive tasks, what does that mean? It means that AI is basically free. If it's not at least free to a degree, it is very cheap compared to if you have a human that you are always paying the salary. And as somebody who owns an organization or a company that isn't government-based, because with government, at least you can think of, okay, let me employ people for the community. But if you're running a private business, you're trying to cut costs, you're trying to maximize profit. And because of that, if you feel AI will save you a lot of money on salaries, you will cut people off because of AI. So that is a serious risk. That job displacement is a risk with AI. Now, just because it is a risk, it doesn't mean we should do away with AI. Whether we like it or not, AI has come to stay. People are going to use it. So we now have to adapt and use this AI in a way that it will benefit us. I'll give you an example. Well, I am not elderly, but I was privileged enough to be born in a time. So I'm in that generation that we were around when the old things were there and we witnessed the transition into now using the new things, right? I knew of a time where not many people didn't have computers in their home, not just laptops, even desktops, they couldn't afford it. So if you want to type anything, you had 2 options. It's either you go to a business center and they type it for you, which by the way were not very common, or you go to a typist and it's typed with a typewriter. That was then. But over time, a lot of people started moving towards computers. It still wasn't common for everybody to have a computer in their home, but there were a lot of business centers that could type with computers for you. So you could write, take the paper to them and they will type it out for you. Then you come and correct. You sit down in the business center, you and the typist, and you correct, right? What happened to the people with the typewriters? How many people have typewriters today that they are using? Virtually none. Does that mean because computers came and displaced them, or people with computers came and displaced them, they resisted then and the computers went away? No, the computers stayed. In fact, many people have computers in their home now. And what happened? People with the typewriters are not there anymore. They had to adapt to computers. Now, even people with business centers, now, how many cyber cafes do you see around? Not many. Nobody will go and sit down and buy it, pay 200 naira for 30 minutes to browse. No, everybody can do that from the comfort of their smartphones. So people with cyber cafes, what happened? They went out of business, but some of them now adapted, right? They adapted to become business centers in a way that they still do the typing, they now do photocopying, laminating, they do design and the rest, and they can help you print out things online. So you can see as long as technology is evolving, people are adapting. If you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. Another example are our photographers. There was a time where people used film, analog film for photography. And the photographer had to choose the lighting and everything. How many people use film nowadays? Nobody. People who do photography now use digital cameras. If you don't use digital cameras, if you can't use video or image editing software like Photoshop, they are going to be left behind. Nobody, once they see your pictures, they'll tell you, no, this picture is not to the standard I want. The same thing with call centers. There was a time you go and pay 20 naira to call for 1 minute. Where are the call centers today? They are not there. So technology is always evolving. Of course, everything I mentioned now came with their risks, but whether people resisted or not, what happened? We had to adapt. So job displacement is a risk. Skills obsolescence, we just talked about this now. I am good in typewriting, but then computers came, nobody is using typewriter again. What happens? The skill I had in typewriting is not useful to me anymore, right? So these kind of things happen, particularly in technology. Even in programming languages, for those of us then we were taught programming languages, Visual Basic, or even the regular Basic, right? Fortran and the rest. Nobody uses those things anymore. Now people are using Python and the rest. So if you decided, okay, I'm going to stick there, I'm not going to update my skills, what happens? People with the new skills will take over the jobs that you have. Now, another challenge is bias in AI models. Remember, I told you that AI is trained on data, and that's how it gives you information, right? Try something. Go to ChatGPT and give AI a word in your local dialect, whether it is Yoruba or Hausa or Nupe or whatever it is. Give it a word and tell it to translate for you. Now, if it's one word, it might be able to translate it properly. Give it another word, give it a phrase or a sentence to translate for you. If you are lucky, it might be able to give you the meaning of the sentence that you put in. But give it now, you know, all our languages and our dialects, we have all these idioms and wise sayings and proverbs, right? Put in a proverb in AI. I bet you 90% of the time you will get the wrong answer. We even did a research on it in terms of, okay, these AI models, how good are they in even translating our local dialect here in Nigeria? They were able to translate some words, some were able to translate sentences, but when it came to idioms, a lot of them performed poorly. So there is that bias in AI models because a lot of them are developed overseas. They are not developed with our local content. They are always going to be biased towards the data that they were developed on. So that discrimination will always be there. And you might tell it to give you information about Nigeria or about your locality, and it will be bringing up some stereotypes or of things that only people abroad think that is what Nigeria is like. It will be giving you that kind of false information. So that is the bias. It's also a risk, because when people get that information from AI, they take it hook, line, and sinker, which isn't always correct. Surveillance and privacy. Because there is a large need for getting this data that AI is working on, you are always going to have this problem of privacy. I'll give you an example. Maybe you want to buy a phone, right? You now go to jumia.ng or konga.com or any of these online softwares, and you type for the phone. Let's say you want to buy an Infinix phone, you type Infinix Hot 10, and it brings out, you go through it and the rest. You do that for 2 days straight. Take note of this. Whenever you go on either YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, or you are just browsing, a lot of the advertisements that will be coming up for you will be related to mobile phones. How did YouTube and Facebook know that you search for mobile phones? Because they're harvesting your data. When we want to enter WhatsApp or we want to join Facebook, we just see terms and conditions. They are tiny, they are plenty, nobody reads it. Even me, I don't read it. I just click down and I say, I agree, bam, so that I can start using the software. They are not charging you for using the software, but they are not giving you the software out of the kindness of their heart. It's the data that you are giving them that they're utilizing to make money. It's called a freemium model. So because of that, there's always this issue of privacy. Because you agree to their conditions, that means you're telling them, yes, you can use my data. If you don't agree to their conditions, then you don't use the software. So that's another risk that we have with AI. And then ethical dilemmas, like you go into AI and you just tell AI that, I've been having headache for 3 days. What could possibly be the cause? And it will now tell you, maybe you have a brain tumor. Or you just go online and you search and it says possible reasons are cancer. Just headache that you had for 3 days, you go and search online and it tells you it's cancer. That's why it's not a good idea to search for your symptoms online, right? And it might not be cancer, it might just be a regular malaria here that you can take anti-malaria 3 days and you're good. So there are some informations that AI will give you based on the data it has, but it is very harmful to individuals. When I go online and I see that I have cancer, what happens? Immediately I'll start getting worried and I'll start looking for various solutions to my cancer problem that I don't even have. And that will make me even susceptible to people who could dupe me. And other things like when it comes to money and the rest, maybe something is happening and you go to AI and say, okay, this thing, they said it can give you 100% return on investment. What do you think? And AI will give you information based on what people have posted online. It's not like it's getting the information from renowned sources. It's just information online. And it's going to tell you, yes, the people who have posted online have reported 200% profit. You just go and put your money there and your money is gone. You said you would think that AI gave me bad advice. No, AI just gave you the advice based on the data it has. So all these are challenges and risks. Then there are many other challenges like regulations. We are designing AI. Who is regulating and checking it for us? Which arm of the government is looking into that, right? Inclusivity. The AI information that is provided, does it capture accurately everybody? Does it label some people in a negative light? Intellectual property. If I design the AI, who owns the AI? Is it me or my university or my company? You know, things like that. Those are all challenges and risks associated with AI. So how do you tackle these risks, right? How do you overcome these risks? Like I said, AI has come to stay. We cannot do away with it. It's always going to continue improving and developing. So what do we do for the future, for our work? That brings us to the skills needed for the future. You can see here, we are saying the top AI skills you need in 2025. It's talking about mathematics, programming languages, data engineering, machine learning. That's for people in AI and tech. But what about you that you are not into AI? What about you that I'm an administrator? What is my business with tech? I'm a businessman. My own is to sell my things and get my money. What is my business with tech? The skills you need for the future are very important and they intertwine with AI in such a way that you cannot do away with one or the other. One of the main skills that you need are technical skills. And when I say technical skills, I'm talking about IT skills like coding, AI, machine learning basics, data analysis. You might not be an excellent programmer. You don't even have to be an excellent programmer. You don't have to be very good in data analysis, and you don't have to be good in developing AI models. But you should have at least a basic understanding of what these things are. And if possible, how can they be used? So if somebody comes and tells you about programming, you should understand what programming is and what do you even use programming for. If somebody comes and tells you about AI and machine learning, have a basic understanding about AI and machine learning. Because if you have this understanding, nobody will come and tell you rubbish about AI and you will believe. If you understand it well, nobody can come and scam you or dupe you. Nobody will come and tell you, we're building an AI model for 100 million. And you say, why 100 million? Don't you know, AI needs a lot of data. It needs millions of data. That's why we need millions of naira. Nobody will come and tell you that and you will believe. So you need at least a basic understanding of these basic technical terminologies, understand how they work, so that in the future, even if you don't use them, you might be in a situation where you have to decide who uses them or how it is used. Yes, you are an administrator. Let's say you are in the civil service. What if you become a permanent secretary one day? If you become a permanent secretary or a director, you have to take major decisions on probably how AI will be integrated in your workforce. And if you don't understand it, then how can you take that decision? If you are a businessman and you understand how AI can improve your business, then you don't need to understand or you don't need to know how to build the AI. Just know that, okay, this is the type of AI I want, and nobody should come and tell you differently. So that is why the technical skills are very important. But if you're into engineering or you're into technology, it's good that you have at least one of these skills so that you wouldn't be left behind as well. Then digital literacy. It may surprise you that there are a lot of people who are really lacking in this area. Even how to use things like Microsoft Office, how to collaborate online, how to use Zoom. There are a lot of people out there who don't understand how to use these things, and this can save you a lot of trouble. You don't always have to meet physically. And if not for COVID, I think up till now, we wouldn't have embraced the Zoom culture because we will still think that we need to meet physically all the time. So there are a lot of these digital literacy tools that we need to learn how to use so that we can use them in our day-to-day activities. Then soft skills, this is very important. In addition to the technical skills, yes, you know how to write, you know how to analyze data, you know how to do this and that, but can you speak in public? Can you work in a team? Can you communicate your thoughts effectively? Are you creative? Are you adaptable? Are you emotionally intelligent? These are soft skills that we need to learn for the future, right? Somebody will come and tell you, we need to use AI and revolutionize our company. And you know that doesn't make sense. What type of AI? How do you want to revolutionize and things? But you don't just start yelling at him. That means you don't have emotional intelligence. You come down to his level. Okay, can you explain how can we use AI to revolutionize the company you are talking about? You know, things like that. Sorry. So these are all important, these soft skills. How do you communicate with people? How do you speak in public and tell people your vision? How are you adaptable to these people? Then critical thinking, very important. Somebody comes and tells you AI has done this, you've used AI, it gives you this kind of results. You don't take it hook, line, and sinker. You have to understand that what is generated by AI is not always the alpha and omega. You have to critically analyze what is gotten by AI. And now in the period of social media, we need to be very careful. Somebody will generate a video, and will generate even speech with AI and will come and tell us that this is what is happening, right? Recently, I was on a platform that somebody put news information that some people were killed somewhere. I can't remember the place, and that about 50 or 70 of their cattle were also killed by unknown gunmen. right? And at the end, they said justice for, I can't remember, but it was justice for those people. Let's assume it was Mina. They said justice for Mina. Now, when something like that starts circulating on social media, it is very dangerous because people get agitated. And when I looked at what the person shared, the image there showing the people who are dead with the dead cattle was obviously generated by AI. And there was no link showing the source of the information. So I immediately raised an alarm and I said, look, what you are sharing, even if it's true, this image is generated by AI. And the way this news item is presented, it doesn't look like a genuine news source. Newspapers like Guardian, Punch, Daily Trust will not be putting justice for somebody at the end. So I told the person that, look, even if what you are saying is correct, get the real link where you got the news from and share it. That is how you need to do it. So AI also contributes. Another negative side of the AI is in misinformation and disinformation. People use it to disinform people. Or some people will just generate an AI video telling you that this medicine is 100% effective. You just spend your money, you'll be taking the medicine, and it doesn't work. So critical thinking is very important, particularly when using these AI techniques, and also communication skills. If somebody is developing AI systems, can they communicate the output of those systems to people who are not in the field? Just because I don't understand what AI is, it doesn't mean you don't need to explain to me how this was done and what are the implications. And therefore, how do we prepare ourselves for this future that has AI? The first is lifelong learning. The second, it is very important. Learning never stops. It never stops. Don't think because you have a degree, you are done. There are some of our executives, they still go for programs, right? Our vice chancellors, our CEOs, our directors, our generals, they are always going for one course or another. It's not, some people will think, they are going there just to go and chop money. No, they are going there to learn so that they know how to serve better. So lifelong learning is very important. You need to continue learning about AI and about related areas close to AI, as we talked about earlier, and how these can help you in your own work. When you see something, don't quickly dismiss it and say, no, this one is not going anywhere. No, look at it critically with an open mind, understand the implications, the positive and negative, and how does it apply to the work you are doing. If you are a teacher, one of the problems we are facing in the educational system currently is you give people assignment, they use AI to do the assignment. They don't want to learn anymore the hard way. Or if somebody is able to go into an exam with his phone, he uses AI to generate answers to your questions. So those are the kind of implications that you need to know about so that you can protect yourselves and your organization and people around you from these implications. So as individuals, you need to invest in yourself to learn about these things. Employers, you need to invest in your employees to learn about these things. And governments must also invest so that their public and civil servants can learn about these things. And what is the government role? First, they need to enforce AI regulations. Because AI is now everywhere, there needs to be check and balances on how we develop and use these AI systems. Then also they need to support retraining and digital literacy. A lot of our people in the civil service, based on what they've learned in the university, still what they are operating on. You need to train people on these new emerging technologies so that they can be more productive and more efficient. Then you need to ensure inclusive access to AI technology. Luckily, we have things like ChatGPT and Meta that are more or less free, but there are some more advanced AI techniques like ChatGPT. It has higher versions that need to be paid for. So in organizations where you want your employees to be productive, invest in purchasing these higher versions of the AI so that they can have that experience of using these systems. And if need be, they can make recommendations on how to use it better. Then in the industry, we need to adopt it responsibly, train and reskill our workers and collaborate with government and academia. And of course, as academia, that's our educational institutions. We need to update our curriculum with AI and tech skills so that all the students passing through us have an idea what these things are. so that once they go to higher levels, they have a basic understanding on how this can help us. And we need to drive research on AI ethics and impact and partner with industry and government. So in essence, how do we prepare for this future? You learn about AI. It's not just for tech professionals. Everybody, one way or another, needs to benefit from this. So you need to learn about it. Even if you don't learn the coding and development and the nitty-gritties, understand how it works so that whenever the need arises, you can make informed decisions regarding AI. Use AI tools now. If you've not used it before, try using things like ChatGPT, Canva, Grammarly, Meta AI. Just type in questions, see how it works. Meta is even incorporated in our WhatsApp. You can use it to generate images. Try and see the kind of information it will give you. In fact, I will even challenge you to ask it questions regarding your tribe, your local dialect. You will understand the limitations of AI. You will see the information it's giving you is not always correct because it has not been trained on our local data. And that is one open area for our researchers in Nigeria. And that's when you will understand that AI isn't really alpha and omega. It is just garbage in, garbage out. Then understand the ethics of AI, what you should do with AI and what you shouldn't do with AI. And you need to be resilient. I know the higher we go in terms of our career, the older we get, it's very difficult to learn some of these things again. For you to sit down and start learning, you don't have the time. Even if you have the time, you are thinking of when is the salary coming? You are thinking of the food for your family. You are thinking about school fees. If even none of that, you even have personal problems that you're thinking of how to solve. Is it AI that you go and sit down and start learning? You know, but we need to be resilient. We need to be persevere. We need to persevere, and we need to be patient. It's a struggle within ourselves, but we have to be resilient so that we can continuously update this skill set and we would not be left behind. So my final thoughts, right? Basically, the takeaway you should get from this at the end of the day is AI is here to stay and it will continue to evolve rapidly. We cannot stop that evolution. Technology, whenever it comes, nobody can stop the movement. It keeps going faster and faster. But AI now will augment, not replace human potential. You will agree with me that no matter the work you are doing, there is a level of human intuition and intelligence that you have that no AI can replace that. No AI can replace that. There are some decisions that you would take that AI can never give you, do this or do that. It only beat around the bush, but you, based on your experience, you can take that decision. So I keep telling people that AI and tech are tools that you can use to improve your productivity. They are not supposed to replace you, right? So the key to thriving in an AI future is to collaborate with these systems and not compete with them. Don't say I am better than AI. Even if you are, it doesn't help anybody. But if you collaborate with AI or these AI tools and augment it with your own experience, amazing results. And to the last part, AI will not replace you. AI will not replace you. AI does not replace people just like that. But a person using AI will replace you. That's just the truth. Just as computers did not replace typewriters, well, computers did not replace the typists, the typewriters, the typists, but people using computers replaced them. Digital cameras did not replace analog photographers. It is the people using those digital cameras that replace those people, right? So as long as you decide you are not going to use these things, one day you will be in a position where somebody that is using that thing will get more opportunities than you. So you need to adopt these technologies and see how it fits into your various areas of work. Of course, we can't cover all areas. That's why I was giving examples here and there, just so that you can see that AI can be integrated in many aspects of our livelihood. And with that, if you adopt AI, try to use it in a responsible way, that would help you in the nearest future and also in the farther future, because it will help you take decisions that can help you in your workplace, that can make you more productive and more efficient. And it would also improve your output in terms of what you give to your organization, whether it's the school, government, or the industry. So thank you very much for listening, and I would stop here, but I am available to take any questions if you have them.
Now, I don't even know what to say than to say, wow, Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, we've all seen it now, we've all heard about it. If you remember very well when we were starting, I said we've invited an eminent lecturer, somebody who can really give us an insight into what AI is. And I'm sure with his deliveries now, we all know what we are meant to do. We all know how we are going to prepare for the future now. So I so much appreciate the lecturer for the wonderful lecture, because even as a computer scientist, I've also learned a new thing today. I've learned so many things today. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. So like you said, when you were delivering your lecture, there's a video that you want us to play. The video will also give us more insight into what you presented today. So I'll be playing the video now for the next 10 minutes. Just want to look at the video, listen to it. Then when we're not back from the video, we will now entertain our questions. Then after which other things will follow suit. So right now, I want to share my screen for us to watch the video.
Warehouse picking orders from miles of shelves. And this is his co-worker. I'll call him Wally. It's a robot powered by artificial intelligence. And he isn't alone. Doctors are beginning to rely on AI for diagnosing disease. Machines taking... Somba Chan works at a warehouse picking orders from miles of shelves. And this is his co-worker.
I'll call him Wally.
It's a robot powered by artificial intelligence. And he isn't alone. Doctors are beginning to rely on AI for diagnosing disease. Machines are taking the wheel from truck drivers, and chefs are handing their ladles to robotic line cooks.
It doesn't matter whether you're working in a factory or sitting at a desk or working in the service sector. If you're doing something that is fundamentally routine and predictable, that job is ultimately going to be threatened by machine learning.
Will work ever be the same, or are we heading towards a jobless future?
So in here, this is where we assemble the robots. Here's your future job as a robot builder.
Melanie Wise is the CEO of Fetch Robotics. Her team builds autonomous robots that use sensors, cameras and mapping algorithms to navigate warehouses.
So instead of a picker walking several hundreds of miles over the course of a week, they would give the goods to the robot, and the robot does all that transportation.
And they save me about a couple hours in the day to make my job a little bit easier.
At RK Logistics, which supplies high-tech companies with semiconductor parts, Fetch robots have become part of the workforce.
It wasn't about trying to replace people. It was about trying to use the people that we have, the employees that we have, for the tasks that they are good at and are interesting and that they want to be doing. We've not laid off one person because of robots. And in fact, because it's made us even more competitive, we've actually only been hiring.
Even so, mounting evidence suggests that the risk of robots replacing humans in the labour force is real. According to one study, about half our jobs are at high risk for automation. And it's not just manual labour.
It's also, white-collar things. It's jobs done by journalists and radiologists and all kinds of other, professional people that often have lots of education.
Historically, new technology has increased productivity and created new jobs, but this time could be different.
The machines are moving into that cognitive space. They're thinking, they're learning, they're adapting, they're doing things that used to be uniquely human, and eventually we're going to see an unprecedented disruption.
That kind of disruption is what concerns workers like Robert James.
Yes, it worries me because automation causes people to lose jobs.
James is a forklift operator at the Carrier factory in Indianapolis, where they manufacture furnaces and air conditioners. He's also the vice president of their local union.
These jobs pay well, the benefits are good, so you do need them.
This factory may be a good indicator of where the manufacturing industry is heading.
Last February, Carrier's president told employees at the Indianapolis factory that their jobs were moving.
To Monterrey, Mexico.
Then in November, the company struck a deal with President-elect Trump to keep around 700 jobs at the factory.
No, we're not leaving.
But those jobs still aren't safe. Here's what United Technologies CEO Greg Hayes told CNBC a few days later.
We're going to make a $16 million investment in that factory in Indianapolis to automate. What that ultimately means is there will be fewer jobs.
I think that UTC will attempt to automate every job that they possibly can.
We are, in some cases, seeing factories come back. But of course, what happens is that the factories are then almost entirely automated. So the production is here, they're building something here, but there are very few jobs.
So what can we do if machines take our jobs? One potential solution is something called a universal basic income.
A universal basic income is the idea of income unconditionally given to everyone, regardless of how much work they do, where they work, where they live.
It may sound unrealistic, but something like it has been in place for decades in Alaska, where every resident gets an average of $1,000 a year thanks to oil dividends.
What's radical about that is it's money that Alaskans didn't work for, and they believe that they deserve.
Critics say that it will make people lazy, but Foster disagrees.
Will people work if they have economic security is a very good question. The science shows that people, in fact, do work. But the other thing we have to ask ourselves is what constitutes work? There are people who have worked without pay for a long time. I think of parents, I think of caregivers. And so I think the thing that basic economic security would allow is the kinds of work that people want to do and they're passionate about.
If this idea doesn't catch on, there may be other ways to prepare, like retraining programs or taxes on companies that replace workers with robots. But one thing is clear: there's no going back.
The worst thing to do is just to pretend that it's not going to happen and sit there and do nothing. Our challenge is to figure out a way to adapt to this future where people may be working less.
I have 12 emails, 30 messages, and a proposal due by 10.
I'm already underwater.
I'm in the same boat. I'm in an actual boat.
I thought Grammarly just fixed grammar. They make boats now?
It's more of a metaphor.
No, Alhamdulillah. So we've all seen the video. So many things to learn from the video. And I'm very sure everything we watched from the video, our lecturer has actually explained all of them. What we can see is more like the video is more or less like talking about, it's applicable to everybody, but at the same time, so maybe people in America and the likes. But the truth is this: AI has come to stay. And how do we fit into what AI is going to bring? Is to make sure we do everything our lecturer has highlighted. Let us add more to our skills. Don't let us give up on it. We learn and we will learn, we will learn. And as even Muslims, we know very well that is our tradition. There are a list of the prophet that we learn from cradle to grave. So AI is coming now. What we need to do is to learn. Don't let us give up on it. So Alhamdulillah for today, and Alhamdulillah for the lecturer too. We say a very big Jazakumullah khairan for the lecturer. So the thing will be entertaining our questions. So if you have any question, just kindly raise up let us up our e-hand. So I'll give us the chance to talk. So now I've seen but I was still Allahu Loye. So but you have the floor now to ask our lecturer your question. Please, because of time, we don't want us to do any form of Mokodimo again. Just go straight to the question, which will be noted. Then we'll continue. Now, Brother Abdul, you have the floor now. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh. Now.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question is that these days, the emphasis has been on using AI for a series of things, like use it for scanning the CV. Most of the organizations now, when they want to employ, they say, okay, They will use the AI to scan your CV, whether you are employable or not. So what effect will this have on the population of the job seekers? Then that is one. For someone in financial sector, who is an accountant, a professional accountant. So how do you make use of AI to enhance your performance at work? Because over time, the emphasis has equally been. Just last week, the outcome of the conference they had at ICANN was okay on the use of AI. So this has been a consistent emphasis. So how do we make use of that? And over time, I personally, I have tried to enroll for online program on how to make use of AI to better my work. So, but due to financial constraints, he has mentioned it, the lecturer has mentioned it in the course of delivery, his lecture delivery. So, how do we manage the situation just to make sure that we are still relevant in the industry in the years to come? Thank you very much.
No, Jazakallah khairan. So, doctor, I don't know, should we take all the questions or you want to answer them one after the other? Should we take all the questions? Okay, we should take all the
take them
at once. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. So the next person to speak to us now is actually I was supposed to have introduced him. He's the director of TCP National. He's the person of Dr. Yusuf Kameo. So at the moment now he's also raising up his hand. He wants to ask one or two questions. So you have the floor now, Doctor Yusuf Kameo. You have the floor now.
Yeah, hello, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. No.
Now, I want to ask our distinguished lecturer. Now, I know she is in Mina, and I know that I know one of a professor, Professor Musa, and it's one of those people that I know, at least in this country, that has been like championing AI. At least I learned those concepts from him firsthand, some years back. Now, I want to know. I know how well are we trying to use AI in the country at the moment? We're trying to domesticate the concept of AI, even the concept of robotics, because uh, I'm very sure, being a PhD holder, and I'm very sure you have a lot of students that are trying to domesticate most of those things. So, because I see it as a potential for us, because without the AI, a lot of time we will not be able to achieve significant improvement in this our country. So I want to know: are people embracing it in their own country at the moment, or is still like people still like be in rejection and not trying to accept it? Because I see a future in don't know how well AI is being taught in all our institutions, especially for our upcoming professionals. Thank you.
No, Jazakallah khairan. So the next now is Brother Abiodun Abdullah. You have the floor now. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh now.
Now, Jazakallah khairan to the lecturer for a very wonderful speech. And I really want to commend him and also ask about this field in relation with Islam, because I use AI in almost most of the things I do. But each time I use it, I'm always very scared in terms of when we know how AI was being developed. It was developed from all information we actually upload online, and whatever we ask AI is going to go from here to generate those things, and it's going to bring it to us. And this always make me feel like, okay, if you put all your information, keep putting data on it, the machine is going to learn that it's going to know all your details, like how you eat, how you live, where you work. Like, is this not going to be dangerous? Is it not going to have bad effects on our life in the long run? So I'm just scared. I want him to educate me more, because I use it often that he has actually, even when I ask him questions, he will refer me back to what I've asked him before and join the whole thing together. Is it not going to have any effect on the long run? And remembering the word of the prophet about Dajjal and the likes, and Please, I want him to advise on that. Thank you.
No, Jazakumullah khairan. No, Brother Sharif Akurede, you have the floor now. Sharif Akurede, you have the floor now.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi, sir.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. No.
My question goes like this. I just want the lecturer to explain better and enlighten us the impact of AI in education, particularly in this earlier age, tender age education. Those in primary school and secondary school now, the way amount they use AI now is not what we in those days. So it says that it happened during Ramadan. My daughter is watching a program on TV. So then I asked her, in that program, that who is the father of Abu Talib. The first my daughter did is that just got my phone and open to ChatGPT, and she got the answer. And I'm wondering, in those days, we used to memorize those days. But the first thing she take up is to go and pick the phone and get an answer from it. So how does AI improve their taking ability? And that, does it assist them or in another way around? So that's my question. Thank you.
Okay. No. No, Jazakumullah khairan. I think that's all the questions that we have for today. So, Brother Sharif, please kindly mute yourself, please.
All right, thank you.
Now, over to you, sir. So let me start by relating out the question. The first person says, how do we use AI? Scanning of our CV with AI. What are the implications, and how will we be able to bypass that kind of challenges? Because scanning the CV with AI, meaning that maybe the AI will now talk more about the person or things like that. And I think it's bringing out a negative outcome. So how do we go around scanning of CV with AI that organizations have adopted now when doing interviews?
Okay, thank you. I've written down the questions actually, so I think I'll just be going through them one after the other. I've written them down.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes. So I'll start with Brother Wasiu. How the implication for us now, because using AI on CVs to scan the CVs, right? So one of the first applications I talked about for AI was computer vision, how it can extract information from whatever it sees. So it's called optical character recognition, where you put in a document or anything that has writing, and the AI is able to extract the text. So you can see now it brings us back to the automation of repetitive tasks that we're talking about, right? You are recruiting people. Recently, NNPC did recruitment, right? And they said within 24 hours, how many thousands or millions of people applied. So imagine going through the CV of 1 million people and you have a short duration of time. It's very hectic, almost impossible. But with AI, it can automate these things. So you could see that as an organization, you might want to favor the use of AI to help with these things. But as you rightly asked, what is the implication of that on the people applying? Now that brings us to the soft skills that we were talking about. So it means now, as a generation, we have to learn how to better adapt and better prepare our CVs such that we can put a lot of the information that when the AI extracts it, the more relevant information is put out. I remember growing up, when I looked at the CVs of my parents, you had curriculum vitae written on top, then you had personal information, name, date of birth, religion, tribe, number of children, things like that, right? And for a lot of our parents that are in the civil service now, that's the kind of format they've been using. But if you go into the world now, a lot of organizations, the first thing they will tell you in CV workshops is you shouldn't write CV on it, shouldn't write curriculum vitae. So basically, you need to adapt your CV in a way that even if AI is used on it, it should be able to extract the relevant information. And that brings us back to the upskilling that we're talking about. You can now see that AI has a direct implication on how people get jobs. So if they don't adapt how they prepare the CV, then AI is going to weed them out. And at the end of the day, they will even tell you, you should not have one CV. You should have different types of CVs for different applications. And in that way, depending on what you are applying for, you can upload. An academic CV is different from the type of CV you use in the industry. So keep those things in mind. So we have to upscale and improve our CV skills so that we would not be negatively affected by AI. And then you asked how to use it in finance. So from the top of my head, some of the things AI is used for in finance is using machine learning, you can identify fraud based on some data. You can look for anomalies, things that don't add up, things that don't make sense, and you can flag them and say that, okay, this is used for fraud. You can also use it for prediction, particularly if you're looking at anything that has to do with investment, stocks, profit and loss. You can use it to forecast and see, based on certain indicators, can you get profit in this aspect or will you lose money in this aspect? And you would see that to even do that, you need data to train the AI, maybe previous data, so that the AI would identify patterns and trends, and it can help you. So those are some of the things you can use AI in finance for. Other things are maybe financial reporting. Maybe you have a report, AI can help you structure it better and make it more presentable. And then talking about the financial constraints to learn AI. Now, a mistake most of us make is that we feel that we need certificates or a degree or a diploma in a certain aspect before you can be good in that aspect. Nowadays, the world has there's what you call a portfolio. If you are good in software development, if you are good in AI, your employer will say, do you have a portfolio? Let me see the work you've done in AI. They are not interested in your certificates. Even if you can have a PhD in computer science. Somebody that does not have a first degree in computer science, if he has a better portfolio, he'll get the job over you. So where the finance issues will come in is if you are going to platforms that require you to pay money to do the course and get a certificate at the end of the day. But there are a lot of free platforms that you can go online and learn some of these things. There is a website, W3 Schools, you can learn from there. I know Udemy usually makes you pay, so Udemy and Coursera might not be a good place to start. But the easiest thing that everybody knows, brother, just go on YouTube. Just search for what you want to learn on YouTube, and you will see hundreds of videos that can help you in that regard, hundreds of courses. Just take your time, go through the videos, and you will understand better. If you even want to do the coding, there are videos that will teach you how to do the coding, starting from the installation to the deployment. At least the only thing you will spend in that regard is your data for internet. But just go on YouTube, it is free. Even me nowadays, if I'm stuck in some aspects, I just look for information on YouTube and watch the video, and it can help. So that would be a very good place for you to start. Then Dr. Yusuf, thank you very much for your contribution, sir. Actually, Professor Ibino is my mentor. So the Department of Mechatronics where I work in, Professor Ibino was our HOD before he became the Vice Chancellor in Summit University. And we all work under the same research group in FUT Mina called the Advanced Engineering Innovation Research Group. So I work very closely with Professor Ibino. And as you rightfully said, he's one of the people who championed AI in FUT Mina, in Nigeria generally. He has been working on this for many, many years. And you were asking about how well we are using AI in Nigeria. How are we domesticating it? So we can look at it from two fronts. There are a lot of people, you would be surprised, that don't even know about AI. Maybe they've heard about it, but they don't know how to use it. It's when you go into the civil service, the ministries, the schools, you realize that there are a lot of people who are not fully educated on the use of AI. I think for those of us in the academic community, we are more familiar with it because of ChatGPT, because of how we use it in the academics, how our students use it, and how we try to control how they use it. But once you go outside the academic system, it's really a 50-50 thing. There are a lot of people who don't know about it. And one of the reasons why people are not adopting it is, number one, the AI we are using is not locally made. It is not built on our local context and our local information. And therefore, a lot of information you're looking for locally that has to do with your locality, you might not get it from these AI systems because they are built on foreign data from the West. So it doesn't really help us a lot in terms of locality. Now, there is also something called AI agents. When I develop AI, how do I deploy it? Am I deploying it on a robot? Am I deploying it on software that can be used on a handset? Or am I deploying it on a website that I have to go online to use? And depending on where you deploy the AI, that will determine how people will adopt it. Like in my group, we have been trying to incorporate AI into farming, into precision agriculture. But one thing we have realized is that a lot of farmers don't want to use these technologies because, number one, they will tell you that's not the way we've been doing things. That's not what we learned from our forefathers. And number two, if you deploy it on a robot and you tell them to purchase the robot, it's going to be more expensive than what they normally use. And then even if they buy it, there's no guarantee that it's going to be more efficient in terms of production than what they normally use, because they might not even have that open mind. So there are a lot of aspects where AI hasn't been adopted, and that is really a problem. One of the major problems we're having is adoption. And the major limitations are, number one, the cost. Number two, resistance to change. They'll say, no, this is not the way I've been doing things. Don't bring something new to me. And number three, just because it's AI, it doesn't mean it will be better than the traditional system. Maybe in some aspects it might be more efficient, but there will be also aspects that the traditional methods people will feel are better. So we still have a long way to go in terms of people embracing it, in terms of people using it. When you go to the universities, you will see a lot of people using it, particularly students. But outside there, then you start seeing a handful of people who use these things. Then Brother Abiodun was asking about AI in relation to Islam, particularly AI knowing about lives, privacy, and negative dangers. So let me start with cautioning us about even using AI to ask questions related to Islam. Because like I told you, AI is dependent on data. The AI you are asking, you don't know the kind of data it was trained on with regards to the religion. If you go and ask it questions, it might give you wrong information. So still in that regard, it's better to consult with your malams, your sheikhs, and they can provide the relevant information with authentic proof from the hadith and the sunnah. But then in terms of knowing about our lives and privacy, that is a major risk. And that's why we have an area of AI that I talked about called AI ethics. It's always a risk because it's getting this data from us. So what makes you think you are safe, right? There was a day we tried something within my colleagues. We went to Meta AI. Like me, I said, Meta AI, tell me about Jibril Abdullah Ibala. And it went online. It got my information, I think, from Google Scholar and LinkedIn, and told me about myself. It was scary. And as much as you use these things, it records and it takes this data to improve itself. But it means that also our privacy is at risk. And that is why for us to curb this, in addition to AI ethics and being responsible in developing AI, we have to be very careful with the kind of information we put on social media. Some of us put everything on social media and it is very risky. You want to travel to Ilorin, you say, I'm on my way to Ilorin, I need your prayers. Why? Why would you put that? Some of us work in very sensitive organizations like the military, like intelligence organizations, IT firms. You take a picture, your ID card is showing. It's on social media. It's a privacy risk. So you have to be careful with the kind of information you put on social media. You have to limit the kind of information you make public. And like you rightfully said, AI having access to our information is very risky. and it has long-term adverse effects. And because of that, we have to be careful with the kind of information we share on social media, particularly, and on our platform, so that it doesn't have access to this information easily. Now, Brother Sharif asked about the impact of AI in education, how it affects thinking ability, particularly in our young ones. And sir, I totally agree with you. It's really scary. You see little ones that are not up to 10 years old, the way they will do with your phone, where they will enter in your phone, you will not even know that place existed on your phone. And they are more familiar with these AI tools than us. You ask them a question and they'll say, I can just check that GPT and get it for you. And that's why in the educational system, particularly in the university, we've been trying to, universities are trying to establish policies on AI use. I know FUT just finished developing theirs recently. These children, if they rely on AI seriously, it's going to affect their critical thinking ability. As adults, you already have a lot of this knowledge. So using AI will just augment the knowledge you have. But as children, if you allow them rely on AI 100%, then once they go further, they wouldn't know anything. It's AI that they'll be relying on to give them that information. And that's why as parents, as guardians, as mentors, we have to limit the exposure of our children to some of these digital technologies. Yes, when they are older, they can use these technologies, but at a young age, we seriously have to limit the kind of things that they're exposed to. Now, they're already exposed to AI. It doesn't mean they shouldn't use AI, but sometimes we have to force them to sit down and read. We have to force them and sit down to think with their head and understand. The way our parents did with us when we were little, there is a wisdom behind it, and there is a reason why it worked then, and it still works now. So if we want, we're going to have problems. So they are already exposed to this technology. You can replace some of these technologies with technologies that would aid in their learning, like educational content. And that's why also we would need people, particularly in AI education, particularly Islamic AI education as well, to train some of these models, develop applications that our children can use to learn about Islam instead of just exposing them to any content that they see online. But like you rightly we have to take a huge stand to make sure that it doesn't expose them in a negative manner. So I hope I have answered. So I hope I have answered your questions. I think that's all the questions that were asked. So thank you very much once again.
Yes, Jazakumullah for doing justice to the question. But as we're answering those questions, somebody dropped one on the chat, and the person says, as a prompt engineer or AI enthusiast, how can I monetize my skills in AI related areas such as content creation, video editing, picture editing, ebooks, AI promotion, and other applications? What are some potential ways to generate income using AI expertise? Now.
Okay, thank you. So, Brother Umar.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah, and there's another one that says AI and classroom
teaching. Yes.
Yeah, but he might need to be a bit more specific so that we know exactly what he's asking. But let me start with the first one. Brother Umar, yes, there are a lot of opportunities you can use, particularly for content creation, particularly in AI. So I will give examples with educational. If you look at education gap in terms of the kind of content people are exposed to in education, particularly if you look at I keep coming back to the local context because it's very important. A lot of the educational content online are developed abroad, overseas, by the West. So one thing you can do is localize educational content within the Nigerian context and put that content out either on YouTube or a specialized website. I know with YouTube, the more subscribers you have, the more views you have monetization opportunities. And also, if you are good with web development, you can develop an online platform where you can put this content, people can access them for a fee, maybe take a course at the end of the day, earn some income. Then also, you can also look for remote jobs in content creation, video editing, and so on. Go to LinkedIn under jobs and just type maybe content creation and see the kind of jobs that come up, particularly in Nigeria. There are opportunities for remote jobs. So you can be doing some of these content creation for people and you can be earning money. So those are some of the potential ways you can generate income using your AI expertise. And then Mr. Adewale was asking about AI and classroom teaching. I don't know, are you asking how AI can be used in classroom? Or I don't understand the question.
No, Jazakumullah khairan, sir. So we're expecting him to respond to.
Okay.
Okay, he said yes.
Oh, okay, he has responded.
Yeah.
Yes, so how AI can be used in classroom teaching? Oh, well, for those of us in academics, really, we use AI once in a while also. So you can use it to generate your content, like it can help you generate lecture notes or maybe content for your PowerPoint slides. Depending on the area you are teaching, so I'll give you an example with me, right? As the moderator said at the beginning, one of my areas are intelligent control systems. So anybody who has done electrical engineering will tell you about control, and they will tell you that the course is purely mathematical and analytical. It's very difficult to understand, and therefore sometimes AI can help me put that content in a more relatable manner so that I can explain it to people with real world examples and they can understand what I'm saying better than for me to just come to class and start writing equations on the board and confuse everybody. Sometimes you see people sleeping at the end of the day. But also there are other ways it can help you make your content more interactive. It can help you generate lecture notes in a way that is easy to understand. But always remember also as a teacher, whatever you generate from AI, you need to go back and proofread and make sure the information it's given is correct and in relation with what you actually want to teach. So you can use it a lot for generating lecture notes and so on. If you want to go further, then maybe an AI tutor where you put in your content, it teaches people and like things that you encounter in Duolingo and Khan Academy. But in that expertise, but for just in the classroom, it can help significantly in generating content for you. Sometimes it can generate images, illustrations, so that your students can see it and understand what you are seeing better. So that's my contribution in that area. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Jazakumullah khairan, sir, for taking care of all the questions. I think now we move to information, and the information now for us is that okay, well, let me call it now. Sorry. So like we rightly said, TCP is an organization that has adopted so many social media handles. That means you can find us on Facebook, you can visit our website, you can see some of the videos, like this session we just had now, to be uploaded into our YouTube channel. They were also present on LinkedIn, we're present on Instagram, and we're also on Twitter. And also, what we normally tell our participants is that the conversation continues. We have a Telegram channel that can accommodate so many people. So the link to join the channel is also there. So if you have any question related to what we have just discussed today, once you post the question there, we'll route it to the lecturer that was invited, then you get your response. And also that's where we share a lot of information about some of our programs. Then on the other hand too, as you all know very well, there is no organization that will work without finance. So TCP is also looking for our help. We have so many programs that we want to do. So far, so good now. This is our 32th edition, the 32nd edition of our webinar. We are supposed to be doing more. There should be a paid version of the program, but because we are still trying to gather things together, so we need our financial assistance. So on the screen now, we can all see the account details of the Congress professional. Let us contribute our own widow's mites, and we'll put Almighty Allah to accept it from every one of us as an act of ibadah. Then also, like I rightly said at the beginning of the program, that the program is a bi-monthly. So now we have done one in the month of May now. The next one will coming up in the month of July. So once you join our Telegram channel, that's when we'll be updating us on the next topic that we're going to discuss. And definitely is going to be a topic that's needed in the society.
What's
Let's not because of time.